Let's speak to Al Jazeera senior political analyst Marwan Bishara, who joins me from the UN. I just want to pick up a bit on Stephanie Decker's package there, refugees and borders, and the fact that they were able to get out, thank goodness. But clamping down, if this resolution is going to work, you're going to have to clamp down on some of these borders, aren't you? Turkey comes to mind. It'll be interesting to see what they can do to make that happen. And also sharing of information. How easy or problematic is that going to be?
Well, this is exactly the kind of thing that we're addressed in the resolution passed by the UN Security Council today. And this is exactly the sort of preoccupations that we've heard expressed by President Erdogan and King Abdullah of Jordan. It's the idea that there's a complexity to how this is going to be done. But certainly, Jane, there are three components that are certainly going to now be the center of all operation. One, law enforcement. Law enforcement is going to involve police operation, intelligence operations, surveillance, and the kinds that each country is going to do on its own. And then there is the political component where different governments are going to have to cooperate, not only in the security sphere and sharing of information, as the resolution says, but also in the kind of ways they're going to be manning their borders, their airports, and so on. And the third component is the strategic component, and that is dealing with instability and violence, whether through military intervention or the lack of, in terms of, the American intervention and other interventions in Iraq and Syria today.
I know that you feel that this really has a Western agenda to it. If that is the case, how is it going to put a stop to that ideology that is frightening everybody at the moment?
You know, about 20 years ago, in 1994, I profiled the Arab Afghans and how various foreign fighters were fighting along the CIA in Afghanistan to get the Soviets out of the country then. And that was in the early 80s. And foreign fighters went out through the Arab world and through the Muslim world and ran havoc everywhere from Algeria to Yemen. And at the time, there was no such concerted effort as we see today, because at the time, there wasn't the kind of perception of danger that we see today, because there are thousands upon thousands of Westerners, meaning youth with Western passports that are fighting in Syria today. So basically what I'm saying is that this meeting is coming together based on a perception of danger for Western countries. The danger has been facing Muslim countries for decades now. Al-Qaeda and the Arab Afghans and others have been running havoc in Muslim countries forever. Thousands upon thousands of Iraqis have died only the last 3 years. The first 6 months of this year, Jane, more than 7,000 Iraqis died. So the question here goes as following. On the one hand, you need to fight terrorism, but on the other hand, look at this ISIL thing. It's a two-legged organization, one leg in Iraq and one leg in Syria. And if it wasn't for the Russian support of President Assad, and if it wasn't for the American almost unconditional support of Prime Minister Maliki, we wouldn't have seen the kind of repression, the kind of oppression, the kind of violence that we've seen in Iraq and Syria the last 3 years, allowing the kind of support for ISIL. So in so many ways, there needs to be, first and foremost, an attempt at dealing honestly and dealing strategically with the root causes of this question. And this should not be a cliche used by the leaders of Western government. There should be a true attempt at engaging the Muslim world, not rendering the Muslim world suspect in whatever counter-terrorism operation is going to happen in the future.
All right, let's leave it there, Marwan Bishara. Thank you very much.